Now we'll do item 10 is Nigel Angus. Now, please, people, if we're going to start talking figures, we'll have to go into PX. So just keep above the line, so to speak. Far away, gentlemen.
Just like to make a few comments to try and focus the decision making. So it's incumbent upon the council under the Local Government Act, the principles of that act, to operate in a commercial, fair and prudent manner. And then on top of that, we have a council policy around the disposal of property, which is to sell property in a fair, open, transparent and public manner as well. So we understand the circumstances of the owners of 50 car parking and drive-on access. It's clear that they would like to achieve that because we're selling the property next door to buy that property to solve that problem. But we as staff are not recommending that that meets the thresholds under the Local Government Act with a policy. Now, the council can depart from both the policy and the Local Government Act and apply Section 80 of the Local Government Act, but you would need to rationalise what the reason is for departing from that policy. What is the good reason to depart and deal unilaterally? Other than that, I'll take the report to read and happy to answer any questions.
All right. We had Mark first.
I see we've got 3 options within the report. The third option there is to do with selling an access way across that section. Is there a possibility where instead of selling, you could look at that so they can have the right of access?
Yes, that would be an option. It's not one they've presented in their proposal, but it is still an option. And that is an option they could either achieve with us or anyone that buys the property if they weren't successful at buying it on a market process.
I was wondering whether as a council might be an option we could talk with them about, see whether something they'd be looking, we could set up before at least protect their rights to.
Yeah, technically it's an option. It's still a unilateral dealing over a property right, and you would still need to rationalise the reason why you're departing from policy and the principles of the Local Government Act. So you'd have to articulate a reason why you're doing that thing. So it's still a property right you're selling, and it would still have a value.
Help?
Angus, could you sort of qualify the risk? Well, the first question is really, do you anticipate if we went to market with this section that there would be a lot of interest in it because of the unique views, etc.?
Oh, yes, it is a unique property. We believe it will be well sought after. I'm rung monthly by an individual that wants to buy the property, and we've had agents call us and other interested people as well, not on that sort of regular basis, but we think there will be good interest from other prospective purchasers in this property.
In the history of council, have we gone outside the recommendations and dealt exclusively with someone who lives next door to probably a similar situation like this in the past?
No, there would have to be extraordinary circumstances or unique circumstances. We have dealt with neighbours, and you've got another report on the agenda in Hills Road, and that is a good example where we would deal unilaterally, where there is only the adjoining owner is the only logical purchaser of the land. It's a non-complying lot, it's really small, it's buried within their section, so they're the only person to buy it. So we have done that in those circumstances. And of course, we've dealt unilaterally with people over property rights and sale of land, but mainly like community groups and that, where there's a broader public benefit.
It's, thank you. Mine was a bit similar with wanting to know if there was other interest, and you answered that. And the people who put in the offer, have they never had access onto their existing house? Right, okay, thank you. And the other thing is, your recommendation is to decline because you feel your advice is that there's not a good enough reason to depart from the policy.
Yeah, we don't believe it meets the thresholds of being unique and extraordinary to depart from policy or the principles of the Local Government Act.
And did you hear the deputation or you've seen?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and it hasn't changed your view at all. Thank you. Tim?
Thank you. I totally agree the property is unique and probably will go with that question will go above TV. As pointed out, there's already interest in it and it is a unique view. Kind of getting $1 each way and following on from Mark, the property's going to need, whoever buys the property is going to need a driveway anyway, and it would be stupid to put a driveway in front of the $1 million unit technically. So you'd probably be putting it up the west edge of the property anyway. So why don't we go $1 each way and say, okay, we will give a shared driveway right of all the couple that presented to us, and obviously they'll have to pay for that right, but that we've established access to their site for a fee, but we're also going to sell the land because the person buying the property will need that driveway as well. So that way we're keeping with policy, but we're actually going to, hopefully, we could even get more money.
Sorry, carry on.
So no, there's no free lunch for anybody here. So everyone's going to have to pay for something.
Yeah, yes, and the section we point out the valuation issues, but having a shared driveway at the back of that property will constrain or limit the overall site and what someone can do with it. So they would be committed to putting a driveway along that full boundary, whereas someone might buy that property and put a driveway right at the entrance and then use that as part of their backyard. So that would have an effect on value. And in the PX section, we talk about how selling that driveway was the balanced lot. The level area of the balanced lot's quite small relative to the overall section. It's about 400 something square metres. So having a full width driveway along that full boundary is quite a compromise. And it limits an owner's options.
I don't think anyone that's going to be buying and have the money to buy that section will limit themselves to a small house, just saying. But yeah, who knows? But yeah.
Oh, thank you. My question is supplementary to Councillor Barber and Cotter. Councillor Barber was talking about the adjoining owners type situation. I'm keen to understand then what previous examples you can give us where we have departed from the policy on the basis of there being a clear and reasonable justification to do so. Can you perhaps give me an example of when we may have done that in the past to help us understand that?
I think the main examples there are where it's a neighbour and they are the only potential purchaser because it's landlocked and as Andy said, you've got a report of that similar nature on that. For these kind of more private ones are the only examples there. A good example from more of the community one was when we dealt with the temple where they were presented a case where they were meeting a number of council's policy objectives and the council considered that was sufficient to be providing good public benefit over and above a private benefit and was sufficient to justify in that case. There's a couple of examples.
The transfer of the old Hornby Library to the Community Care Trust. They're good examples. The Hills Road one's probably the best example, and we don't do many of those because they're small, tiny bits of land, and more often than not, the adjoining owners don't want to go through the process of buying them.
Thank you.
And just Angus, for people listening, the Hills Road school land is how many square metres?
3.
3. So don't think we're giving away all of it. Melanie.
I want to move the staff rec.
Okay,
I'll second.
righto, so we're going to move and second it. Okay, carrying on, Sam.
I just have one question. I'm hoping Mel and Pauline might put it into the staff rec. It was just around if we're, obviously we've heard today that people want to get on and do something for land, which is good for council to get it moving. Can we just put something in, you may have already done it, just around.
We have, in recommendation 6, we've added the sentence at the end.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Cool. Let's vote.
Yeah, I'm getting there, Yanni. Aaron?
Yeah, so my one's a little bit around how does the valuation come
He's
in,
waving it.
what the valuation comes in at if it's believed that if it goes to auction, it'd be worth a lot. Relatively flat market, excuse the pun.
Yeah, what we're saying is there's valuation risk, and that valuation risk can go both ways.
Yes.
So the valuation isn't an exact science. So we've had an independent registered valuer, but he's made an assessment of it. That could go to auction and there could be no bidders. And the adjoining owners will.
So is there not valuation risk in the fact that it was red zoned? So that carries a stigma, and there's a reason why it's red zoned, it's written in the report. And so it was,
It's not red sand anymore.
So the red zoning process was a blanket approach by the Crown, and they didn't look particularly at a property by property approach. And now that land transferred over to council, and you've seen it in the last 2 annual plans,
but isn't this a property by property approach because it's surrounded by houses?
When the red zone happened, it was the width of a red ballpoint pen by someone in Wellington, more or less, and some.
They didn't look at the specific attributes of this property to red zoning. We have looked at the specific attributes of it, along with whether council should be. It adds value in providing a public amenity service or whatever.
Thank you.
Can I just point out, we have sold other of these properties.
Yes.
We've seen both the negative risks that Angus has talked about, but also the upside risk in some of the properties as well, where we've got more valuation when we've gone through a public tender process and auction process. So we'll be looking at what buyers want on particular days.
Yeah, and then a follow on from this has happened in other decisions was made where we don't want to set a precedent, but it's and you're allowed to depart from policy, but we never depart from policy.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We do.
Well, so the example on this, Melanie?
On this.
Yeah, staff said
Somebody
they've
didn't
never
say it
done
on,
it, so.
you just said on policy,
Okay, now carry on.
not the specific one.
Yeah, no, but on property, when did we depart
Well,
from?
we gave a couple of examples earlier where we parted from policy, like the sale of the old Hornby Library to the community trust.
Thank you, Angus. That's good.
Hunters Road.
Yanni, last question.
Thank you, and thank you for the report. I know that in the current environment that may be seen as kind of a business as usual approach, but I was just interested if you looked at the Human Rights Commission into the impact of the rezoning in the residential red zones, and whether the key messages and from that report have in any way been considered when we've done an assessment around exceptional circumstances or not.
So I've read that.
That's out.
Yeah, but I've certainly read that, and we've reported on that previously, and we've indicated that it's no longer relevant. And
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, great answer. Thank you very much. Right. We've had all the questions we're going to have. I'll put it out. Does anyone want to debate this? Oh, gosh.
Just to make today.
Go, Tim.
Yeah, look, I would have put an amendment up, but I don't think it would have passed, it would have lost, so there's no point doing that. But part of being a council is where there is an opportunity, why not show some compassion? This section, if you go through from Scarborough right through to Redcliffe, through these, try and find an established oldest section that is sold on valuation or under valuation. You will not. They have all sold over valuation because these sites are not available. And Christchurch is unique because they are available because of the aftermath of the earthquake. To have been able to give access to this couple for a price and then sell the property is not taking money away from the ratepayers, it's actually helping a couple move forward. I think it's really, really sad. I think this is going to lose. And I do thank staff for their advice and the work. It's a tough one, but I thought there was a way forward, but it's obviously not going to fly around the table. It's just a really sad thing that we talk about compassion, talk about what a council can do, but sometimes we kind of forget because what it's a different area or something, I don't know, but I'm really disappointed with this, but I will not support him.
Cheers. Mark?
Yes, thank you. I'm very much concurring with Councillor Scandrick. Would be wonderful to find a way to use that compassion to offer a method of right of way across that property to give the couple some hope. But I'm happy to also support the majority around the table that we stick with policy. At the same time, it would be nice for us to have that little bit of compassion to meet this couple halfway.
Thank you. Pauline?
Yeah, no, this is a very difficult one, and I must say that when I first read the report, I was very much erring on the side to departing from the policy. But you know, the report actually does explain quite clearly that there isn't enough grounds for that, and particularly if there's other people interested, it's really unfair on them. So it's easy to think, oh yeah, this is the only way around it, give it to the people that really need a driveway. But we've got to consider everybody in this. At the end of the day, it'll go out on the market for an auction. They can bid on it. They may well end up buying it. That means they can then get their driveway and they can sell the balance of the land, and they won't be very hugely out of pocket over that. And I think that is probably, in this situation, the fairest option for me to look at. So just to answer Councillor Kewen's comment on policy, I have often departed from policy. Policy is a guideline. It's a really good guideline, and it's one that we usually comply with. But if you've got enough grounds, I'm quite comfortable with departing from policy. So in this case, I don't think there is enough grounds either. So I really think the best decision here is to allow it to go out to the open market, and I'm hoping they'll be successful in buying it.
Thank you, Pauline. And lastly, Mel.
I agree with the comments that Deputy Mayor Cotter has just made. These people have not actually been living in their house for the last 15 years, so they've got another home. So if they were living there, I'd probably have have a different take on it. But I found this actually a very simple conclusion to come through, and nothing is stopping them getting the driveway. They can purchase the land themselves, or they can work with the next owners to create an easement or purchase from them. So I just think we're not stopping anything. We're just putting this out like we should have done in the first place. I just think it's very simple.
Yanni.
Thank you. Although I'm the councillor for Linwood at the moment, I reflect on my time as the councillor for the Hagley Pyramid Ward, which included this area at the time of the earthquakes. I reflect on the fact that I've stood on the cliffs, I've stood on the hills, I've stood with people in their broken houses in this community, and I've seen firsthand the devastating impact that not just the earthquakes had on their physical structures, but actually on the emotional toll that the recovery and the lack of involving people in the response had. And I was trying to find a way to summarise that in a way that would make sense today. And luckily, the Human Rights Commission have actually done a brilliant job. To quote them, too often recovery is measured in terms of repair and rebuild of buildings and infrastructure. While these are critical, there's also a need to measure the other things that matter to people, including communication, engagement, collaboration, and participation. They found 6 key messages in their report. First, that human rights need to be at the front and centre of disaster recovery. Second, that the right to property is fragile. Third, that post-disaster is particularly important for the Crown to exercise its powers carefully. Fourth, that the communication needs of people affected by disasters are not confined to the immediate post-disaster period, and that those people need access to information and be treated with respect. Fifth, that community engagement matters. The way in which we involve people in the disaster response is important. And finally, and critically, that there is no one size fits all for disasters. Flexibility to consider individual circumstances needs to be incorporated into design of disaster planning policy and services. And recognising flexibility as an intrinsic goal in disaster preparedness results in better outcomes for people and organisations. And I just want to acknowledge that although this might just be part of our normal practice and we don't see anything exceptional about the situation that these residents find themselves in, I do, because I saw firsthand how people in this community were treated. And I fought incredibly hard as the local councillor to save communities from being wiped off the face of the map from this part of our city. And for some people, we managed to get some amazing results, collectively working together with local members of parliament to do area-wide mitigations, for example, to do joint funding of things that would mitigate the risk. So I feel really strongly that although this may seem a long time ago for some people in the room today, for those of us who firsthand experienced the trauma that people went through, I want to acknowledge the suffering that continues, what we heard from this morning. So I am opposed to this approach. There are exceptional circumstances because of the earthquake in this area, and I think we should actually try and find a solution working with people at the heart of our decision making, rather than doing it to them, going to the open market and allowing them to compete. I think would be incredibly unfair. So I'm happy to move an amendment if people are happy to support it, that we take a different approach.
Cameron?
I want to point out the reason we have debate is so councillors can raise issues and sometimes speak from the heart more than necessarily the head. Yanni's just made a perfect example of that. And we had a deputation this morning. We've seen the numbers that staff presented to us the other day. The ratepayer doesn't come out worse off if we deal with the people who are next to this property. Our normal policy is a GV plus a 10% or a 15% window. I think that's pretty much covered off here. So I would be happy to second Yanni's amendment and we deal with the people directly. That's possibly the best I've heard Yanni speak, certainly in this and for quite some time. So I hope the rest of you have listened to him today because he's often ignored, but not this time.
Could we, if you're going to put up an amendment, could we have a quick chat? Because I do.
Yeah. Is it possible? I mean, I know it's unusual.
Have you got an amendment?
But I mean,
Yeah, what's the amendment?
Staff don't have the amendment.
would be to go to option 3.
Yeah. So you said, yeah. So Yanni will foreshadow option 3. But there is a way to still put the property to the market. It's just guaranteeing the driveway, yeah. So we can still, there's no negative for the ratepayers, and that's really crucial. So we can give them an easement or a shared driveway.
We're wrapping up the debate, Mary?
Yeah, and then we'll
Foreshadow 3.
Just the driveway.
foreshadow to number 3.
Do we need any specific wording for option 3?
Well, I mean, I was thinking.
We'll need specific reasons for the departure for option 3, but I'd suggest you have your vote and then we, if we need it. With Mayor agree, take a break at that point.
Okay, righto.
So yeah, and with option 3, you don't
Yes, we have.
tell them the driveway. Right of use, it needs to be even.
And Mel, did you have your hand up? Sam is finishing the debate.
I think we seem to have got a wee bit confused as a group as to what we're doing here. And I get there are different views on it, but fundamentally, we have responsibilities under the Local Government Act to operate in a fair and transparent manner. That's all the staff have recommended, which is this is not slowing down a process. This is just making sure that we let everybody participate in the process. We've put in there the wording which says request that staff action this immediately. So I actually think the unsolicited bid has not been lost on us because it's sped this whole thing up. But I think we just need to be really careful. We're not getting confused about what we're doing here. We have to, and we have obligations under the Local Government Act as to how we need to operate when we make decisions. And we've heard very clearly that the criteria is not met to directly negotiate with this. So what we've done as a council is compromise on our way forward, which is we will start tomorrow. The team will start tomorrow I hope this afternoon, putting this on the market.
10 minutes.
So that the people that have talked to us can enter that process. We represent all ratepayers.
Absolutely.
We've heard from the staff that this does not meet the criteria. We would not be making good decisions if we did not follow our requirements under the Local Government Act. So, I would almost contest, but I won't, that option 3 is not valid because we have evidence from the team that it actually can't be put. So I just caution that before
Point of
we
order.
vote today.
Can we have legal speak on that? Because if.
No, I said
that's
almost.
right,
I said all of them.
Most,
Let's give it a
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And that is why we're here.
Let's put it in.
It's really simple. Yeah, right. Thank you, everybody. Everyone's had their point of view and it's been good. It's been very good. So, right.
Alarming.
You have a table.
It's been me and Cindy, great. You like to speak up, Mary?
It's not clear from my understanding. No, we've got a motion. Motion on the table that's been moved and seconded and it's foreshadowed.
Option 3.
Option 3 and
And a second. Main action first.
Yeah.
Right. So putting the staff recommendation moved by Melanie, second by Pauline. All those in favour of that?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Okay. Is it aye?
Subdivision.
So it's.
Oh, that's good. That's
They've
the.
asked for division.
Yeah.
Following our legal obligations.
Just give it to them because they come and cry.
We could have finished this
Challenge.
It's the division for the officer recommendations. Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Johansson. Deputy Mayor Cotter,
Yes.
Councillor McZoom,
Yes.
Councillor Barber,
Yes.
Councillor Goff.
Yes.
Councillor MacDonald.
Yes.
Councillor Kewen.
No.
Councillor Fields.
Brought back from the other way by Sam, yes.
You didn't want to be in outside.
Guys, can we just concentrate?
For the no, yeah. Councillor Scandrett.
No.
Councillor Harrison Hunt online.
Yes.
Councillor Coker.
Yes.
Councillor Donovan.
Yes.
Councillor Peters.
No.
And Councillor Henstock.
Yes.
So I've got Tyrone, but not Mark. That's.
It's called democracy.
Okay. So that is carried, thank you.